What is up? What's going on there? I feel like those levels are low. What's going on? Am I quiet to y'all? Because I feel like the levels are not bouncing where they supposed to bounce. Testing. My audio is being weird. We were going to start at 8 and I spend about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, making a thumbnail, and it had Dr. Mike in the middle with a bunch of clowns around him, right? Just a stock picture of clowns. And I'm like, it's a good one. And it was labeled, here we go again. So I'm making it, getting everything set up. And then I realized right now, even still, it's quiet. Jon Stewart. Damn, this thing is, I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm out to say, if you turn the sound up, am I good? Yeah, I feel you on the tiredness. Oh yeah, I'm tired. Sig Fang's tired. Everybody, okay, he's good now. Bad. Smoke One Kenobi was immediately in the room. President accounted for, sir. Evening, everyone. Sig Fang, Architect of Sin. Jon Stewart, what's going on? Maneater, my beautiful wife. We got the best people in right now. We're gonna have to compete a little bit. Usually this wouldn't happen because I stream on Mondays, but I had to see my boy off, so we're gonna compete a little bit with old Cypher. He's streaming over there, playing some video games. But we'll be all right. Let's see what we got going on. Are we good on the? We good on the YouTube side? Yeah, we're good on the YouTubers. Everything's up and running. Levels are good. Bet. Yeah, so I'm sitting there and I'm getting the thumbnail done, got everything set up, and as I'm about to start doing the description, I'm like, I can't do Jubilee. Yeah, Carnage. Yeah, I saw that. Hold on, what's this over here? A D to the M. Jubilee won't let me show it. So you know what? We're gonna see later on. Maybe what I'll do, you know what? Maybe that's what I'll do for brain rot. If you're over on YouTube, on the YouTube side, you'll have to come over to Twitter. Because I'm not gonna lie, I really want to watch it. There was I caught a couple bits of it, and I really want to watch it. But YouTube, the people who own Jubilee licenses, they will head 360 no scope right through the dome. Dr. Midnight, what's going on? I like that. Dr. Midnight comes in with the signature. I hope everyone is doing well, and if not, I hope things get better for you. I like that. That's good shit right there. See, that's what we need more like that. We need people just taking care of each other. What do we got going on today? Let me finish my thought. Maybe later on, and when I say maybe, I mean, yep, this is what we're gonna do. As we enter the last end of it, I think I'm gonna have to shut down YouTube. It'll be only Twitter, and then we're gonna watch the Jubilee Pete versus the anti-vaxxers. Dr. Mike versus the anti-vaxxers. Michael Defante. For everyone watching, if you can click the thumbs up to the channel, it really helps out. Yes, it does. Did I say Twitter? Twitch. Let me give you all a quick heads up. Okay, let me. So my son, it kind of low-key felt like he was joining the military, just the travel and the training and everything like that. But my son, he's gonna go work on a cruise line. So lucky him. It's some riverboat cruise line operates all over the country. He might go to Alaska. He might go. Who knows where he'll go? But he has to go to training first. So he's going to Utah for training. And if his boat lines up for the end of his training, he might go straight from his training to his boat, and then he'll be on that boat for 7 months. So this is his first big milestone. He's gonna stay in school. He's doing online school, so he's gonna finish college. He's gonna do it at the same time, but he's decided to go get a real job. So he took off. We had to take off at 10 a.m. Let me tell y'all, here's what my sleep schedule usually looks like. I usually go to bed around like 4 a.m. ish, 3, 4, 5 if I'm like on a losing streak on Marvel Rivals and I'm like, I gotta get this in. Typically, if I'm staying up super late, it's gonna be because I have been stalling on doing the editing I do for Blurred, and I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta work on this shit, and then I'll be up to like 5:30 in the morning, like, and then usually those are the videos where he kicks them back and is like, hey, this is not lined up right, and this is the using. No, that's actually not the character I was talking about. It's a different character, and I'm like, that's my bad. So we don't do that as much, but this morning I woke up like at 9 a.m. Now 9 a.m. Some of y'all are like, okay, what's the point of the story? 9 a.m. is like 3:30 a.m. for you. If you wake up at a normal person's time, then 3:30 a.m. is like how I woke up, like super early. But I'm trying to fix this, so I'm tired. I was so tired I couldn't remember if I took my meds this morning, so I didn't take them because I'm not trying to have a heart attack. So I took like a little bit of Adderall before the show, but like none of my meds, my mental health, PTSD, anxiety, ADHD, I didn't take none of them. Passed out on the couch for about 30 minutes, so I got a little bit of sleep. So if I say shit like what happened just now, I'll be over on Twitter later. You just gotta like throw in the chat, bro. I have no idea what you're talking about right now. I'm like, oh fuck. If it gets too bad and I'm like, especially if I start nodding off live, then I might just end the stream. But I said what I said, come hell or high water, I am streaming tonight. So neither hell or high water came, so I'm streaming. Glad you got to spend some time with your son. I couldn't even mess with you about it. Yeah. Yeah, I felt bad. I was like, damn. I just said on the previous Nerds of Culture that I've been streaming more often. Didn't stream that next day. And on Friday, and then here comes Monday. I'm like, and I did. I thought about it for a second. I'm like, my boys last night here. I mean, he won't care if I stream. Nah, let me stop. I gotta kick it with. We helped him pack. We did the whole thing. It was nice. It was good to spend some time with him. The true hero, you are never late. A wizard arrives exactly when he means to. When I was telecommuting, I'd be up as 4 a.m. Man, let me tell you something. I might have to be entering the workforce here in a little bit, because I'll be honest, I get my check, but I think we spend a little bit too much money. That's what we do. So look, there's two things a man can do for his family when we're spending more money than we make, right? Two things. Either you could spend less, right? Tighten your belt, start canceling some of the things that you're subscribed to, eat out less, cook more, don't buy as bigger groceries, or you could just go make more money and not learn anything. I'm probably gonna do the second. So hopefully we just don't keep on like, all right, job number 3, let's go. And it's not really a second job, but I do make a whole ass paycheck. We'll see what happens. It's not your fault everything's going on. It's true. It's true. And we're going to talk about that, actually. We're going to talk about the tariffs. So speaking of, what do we got in the lineup today? We got some stuff. We got some controversial stuff. Maybe y'all in the chat might have to cook me. We'll see. Wisconsin judge appeals. The appeals court won't stop Musk's $1 million giveaway. So Musk is gonna buy people. Is gonna pay $1 million to have people vote, Republicans specifically. And a judge says, "Nah, that's good. I don't want. What's the problem? What's wrong with that?" So we'll talk about that. Marine Le Pen, pretty much France's Donald Trump from of yore, has been banned from ever running again because France is a real country. France, Brazil, like these are countries that go, wow, you lost your mind when you last time you were president, and now we're gonna make it. You can never be president again. How about that? Yeah. Trump is considering a third term. Oh, speaking of real countries, right, that do things like stop insane people from becoming president more than once, Trump says that he wants a third term. So that's normal. Anyways, we'll get into it. Don't get me started. It's too early. My name Dex. What's going on? You're never late. Anytime you arrive is right on time. JD Vance, I hear there's somebody get deported that wasn't supposed to get deported, which is weird because you're not. Let's see. You round up a bunch of people and deport them with no due process, no court system, no evidentiary hearing, just you're illegal, can't prove you're American, get out. And then we put you into a supermax prison down in El Salvador. Super legal, super, like nothing illegal about that. And by nothing, I mean everything. Bone Factory was going on, sneaking in here. What else we got? Oh, the Proud Boys. Yeah. Our boy, Enrique Ontario. The Afro-Latino. The black man. Who's a far-right Proud Boy of a white supremacist organization. He gave an interview. And of course, he is going to just go all the way in. Now, here's the one that I'm like, do I really want to like beef with chat? Do I really want to do this? Like if I was doing like Ernie numbers and there was like hundreds of y'all, then I think it would be, all right, yeah, there's beef. But I think if like 6 of y'all said, fuck this dude, what would that put me at, like 3? We might do it today. Because Dr. Rashad Ritchie, who I like, I recognize as a lib, but that's okay. I'm not like all libs are bad type dude. But I am, all libs are wrong in my opinion, but not all like, just bad people. I like Dr. Rashad Ritchie. But he has a video that he put out where a lot of people are talking about how silly this upcoming planned protest is. I got asked about it last week, and I cannot for the life of me remember who it was. It was either Moda or Jon Stewart. The names are not similar at all, but for some reason, my brain thinks it's one of those two. Jon Stewart, did you bring up the April 5th? You just asked, somebody asked my opinion on what did I think about the April 5th protest coming up. Whoever it was, I didn't really, like I saw it, and it was during the Nerds of Culture stream. I saw it, and I was like, oh, it was you. Okay, bad. I did see it, but I didn't know the context of what you were asking, right? So like, clearly you know, like, I was able to kind of like in a few seconds kind of like tease it out a little bit. I'm like, obviously I go out and protest. You know, I'm part of my DSA chapter. I make no secret about that. You know, I'm involved. You know, I'm in politics. If he's asking me, by the way, real quick, I'm snoozing the last ad break in Twitch. If you are not a subscriber, you can hook me up with some Bezos bucks if you have an Amazon Prime, and you can give me one of those. If somebody ends up gifting you one, that's another way. But I will say, there's no ads on Twitch. I mean, there's no ads on YouTube, unless you don't have YouTube Premium. But anyways, I clicked the snooze for the last time. I only get 3 snoozes. I use them up all at the beginning, and now for about 5 minutes they'll be ad free on Twitch. Anyways, so I knew that when you asked me, they're like, there's got to be something more to this, because it was not like, are you going to the protest? That'd be a normal question. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm going or not. But you said, what are your thoughts on it? Do you support it? I'm like, ooh. The way he's asking, I feel like there's more to this. So I had to look into it. Originally, I didn't find anything. Originally, I was like, so January 5th, okay, here the protest. Yep. And then it's like, I don't see. And then I saw Dr. Rashad Richie's deal. Now, my stuff, Benji wasn't here. That's my boy out there in training. Roommate with some 55-year-old dude who smells like cheese, he said, or something. Nah, I'm playing. He's probably on speakerphone. Nah, I'm playing. But yeah, I saw Dr. Rashad Richie's deal, and I said, and it surprises me because most of my like when you look at my threads, it's damn near all black and brown. But then I realized something. Damn near my entire threads is leftist, right? So most of the people that are in my feed are gonna be the kinds of people who either voted for Harris like begrudgingly, like were in pain to do it, like myself, or we're not going to vote for Harris ever, and probably don't vote Democrat at all. But if they were, it wasn't going to be for Harris because of gender, blah, 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 blah. So the black and brown people in my deal are leftists. I'm like, that's why I wasn't aware of the like what was going on and people boycotting, because liberals are not in my feed. And when I say liberal, again, I'm not saying like a bad thing. If you don't consider yourself a socialist, whatever. But when I say liberal, I mean like the mainstream sort of like, I'm on the left, I'm a progressive, but you don't, like you're a liberal, right? So if you're not a leftist, you're a liberal. So we'll talk about that. Speaking of liberals, people are dancing in protest. So there's that. They're dancing, changing the world one electric slide at a time. And we get to compare that to how Turkish people are protesting in the streets of Istanbul. We'll also talk about Liberation Day and the tariffs. Again, as we get to the end of the show, we will switch over to Twitch. If you're on the YouTube side, Twitch is LeftFace TV. So I know on Twitch it's a I mean on YouTube it's just youtube.com/@LeftFace. On Twitch it's LeftFace TV. So if you haven't subscribed over there, do so, because I want to watch the anti-vaxxer thing with Dr. Mike, and yeah about that. Let's go ahead and do like we usually do, and Why didn't I have it up? Don't ask me. You know, what am I? The producer, editor, host, all of it? I gotta do all of it? Democracy Now! And my audio went down. Everything just went to shit like 30 minutes before, which is just like, of course, right? Why not? Why wouldn't it? Oh, by the way, and I'm kind of upset at myself for not doing it before now, but well, not doing it at all, because usually I am a big lover of April Fools, and today I got twice. Oh my God, look at that. I can't even put up a number 2. It's like a little curve there. Were y'all in the chat in Nerds of Culture when I told you I ruptured this tendon? And I can't keep it straight now. I finally got to see my favorite non-binary Puerto Ricans queer folk singer from the Bronx live after 13 years of waiting, and it was woke. Was it woke and amazing? That's what's up. That's what's up. Are you in New York City, or were they on tour or something? Cory Booker, of course. Yeah, well, yeah, Cory Booker. I'm sure they'll talk about it. 25 hours. Hey, look, I know I'm a leftist and like, yeah, that wasn't disruptive enough, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. But look, that dude talked for 25 hours. Something that I did not hear a lot about, and something I forgot about until I read it. So you can't filibuster in the Senate. That's the whole thing is, will you support, allowing a filibuster, right? And each party doesn't want it to happen because each party is going to use it against each other. Listen, you can't filibuster when legislation is the stall legislation. So a lot of people were, including myself this morning, it's like, why would you do this now? Why wouldn't you do this when there's a vote happening? Or why wouldn't you do this for the budget? It's because they're not allowed to. So really the only time you can filibuster is when nothing's going on. But what it does do is it turns everybody's attention towards the thing. It takes all the YouTube live channels, all the news, and everybody is eyes on Booker. And him detailing exactly what Trump is doing wrong, why everything is fucked. Honestly, you got to give him his flowers. But with that said, oh yeah, thank you. See, Benji, you missed it. This morning, I don't remember if I took my meds, so I didn't take them. So I'm pretty sure I didn't take them. I took a little bit of Adderall before this, but thank you. Appreciate that. April Fool. This guy. Who April fooled you? No. Tell the story. I didn't get to April Fool anybody today, but I got twice. Oh, that's right. My finger distracted me. Ooh, my ADHD is something else. So my son, who y'all know, most of y'all know, just beat cancer, right? Had lymphoma, had cancer, stage 4 cancer all through his body, and it had already started spreading to his bones in his chest. And did 6 months of chemo, kicked his ass, but he gave it right back to cancer. He beat it. He had a PET scan yesterday, right? Just his scheduled PET scan to make sure there's nothing silly going on. And I remember he told me, because remember I told you I don't wake up till like 1 p.m., right? He went, his thing was like at 9 a.m. He went to his PET scan, he came back. He ain't sick anymore. He can do that shit himself, okay? So today I'm on the drive taking him to the airport, and he's looking at his phone. Now he's been like a little like moody little bitch like all morning, okay? Because he's stressed out and stuff. So he takes after me. He's definitely my son. When I'm stressed out, I get all like, you know, like I'm having period cramps or something. And so he's already been like kind of, you know, yeah, it's all right, it'll be cool. And I see him looking at his phone. He's like, what's wrong? What happened? He's like, the PET scans came back, they found some stuff or something. Now, immediately, I don't remember it's all April Fool's. So if I had remembered, it wouldn't have got me at all. But that's the key. You got to get it when people aren't thinking about it. So I forget it's April Fool's, but I still, knowing our relationship and how we like to fuck with each other, my immediate thing is he's lying. He's lying. But I look at him and he completes the cell with his face. Like I'm looking in profile, right? Because he's looking down and he's looking up ahead. And you know, like the chin tightens up, like he's angry and sad. He's perfecting the I am angry and sad, I'm about to cry, but also punch something look. And I immediately, like my stomach drops. I feel like tears are coming up. I'm like, oh son, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. And he's like, April Fools. I'm like, oh God damn. Hey, look. It was dark, but it was very Robo household. It was very good. It was very good. It might have, look, I still am the king because there's a time where I got his sister and I told her that he and her mother, we had decided that she was going to boarding school, and she was bawling, begging. And the only reason why I say mine still is I was meaner and I let that go for like a good 3 or 4 minutes. She was bawling and I'm like, I'm sorry. We told you that you needed to get your grades up. And she's like, I'm like, hey, listen, April Fools. If he had let it go longer and let me start crying, he would have been crowned king right now. But see, you're soft, and that's why you don't wear the crown, Benji. You're soft. So after you slug the heels, all right? Nah. Hey, look, I'm stronger than him. I'll throw him around, but boys' hands are faster, right? So it would be like, I feel like, hey, Benji, just mute your phone for a second. You don't need to be hearing any of this. I feel like if I fought him, I'd have to get my hands on him real quick. And then I could just smash him into the ground, right? Like just Hulk smash. But if I don't get my hands on him fast enough, I feel like it would be like one of those movies where, it would be like it would be like fuck, what's it called? Rush Hour. Remember when dude, and then somebody kicked him? He's like, who did that? I feel like my boy would tap me 3 times before I'm like, oh, hey, I didn't say go yet. I didn't say go. Okay, that's enough laughing. It's time to watch the world burn.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report.
Oh, yeah, the other one's not as good. That's why I forgot. It doesn't really, it's not, I should have started with this story. But the other one real quick was the DSA. The DSA changed their logo on Discord to the Democrat symbol. This is what I mean, by the way, about leftists. We're not big fans of the Democrat Party. So they changed it to the Democrat symbol. It got me because I'm like, I know I'm not in the fucking Democrat Discord. What is that? So then I go to it and I see Democrat and then apostrophes is I see Democratic Socialists of America. And then their announcement was things are getting too bad. We need to unify in resistance. And the DSA is now officially aligned with the Democratic Party. And as I was reading, I was like, what? I'm literally like, what? And then as I'm reading, oh, it's April fucking Fools. And yeah, that was the second time. But you see, it wasn't as good. It wasn't as good. I should have led with that story and then ended with the cancer one. So, oh well.
I'm Amy Goodman. Israel's armies ordered the mass expulsion of Palestinians from some of the Gaza Strip's most populated areas, including the southern city of Rafah and parts of Khan Yunis. The orders uprooting hundreds of thousands of people who've previously had to flee Israel's repeated forced evacuation orders and bombings. This comes amid stepped-up Israeli attacks that, according to Gaza's health ministry, killed at least 42 people and injured over 180 people in just the last 24 hours.
There are bombings, there are missiles, and there are projectiles, but there are no means of transportation to leave. We prepared our things but had no means to transport them. We walked to protect our children's souls. We wanted to...
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on with my mic. It's pissing me off, but yeah, I have the shit up. Wait, test it. Look, I'm maxing this motherfucker out. I'm gonna have to do it later, but yeah, I just won't talk while the video's on. You said way louder, so that's gonna fuck up when I'm talking. Let me see if I can get out to my level at least.
Take our children and leave with them, not caring about the house or anything. The cry.
Is that good volume? You know, I know y'all had to turn your volume up. Next time I'll have it fixed by then, but for the video, is a good volume?
Crossing is closed, and life, do you know, life is hell. Hell. You know, the Gaza Strip is no longer fit for the living. That's true.
Israel's military's assassinated another journalist in Gaza, at least.
She actually says something pretty interesting there. We have bombs, we have planes, we have tanks, but we don't have anyone to take us out of here. Can you imagine if Israel be illegally occupying where they're at in the first place, right? Like, the country of Israel is not illegally occupied, but we can know even still that they shouldn't be there, right? In the same way, the United States of America shouldn't be here. Are we an illegal country? No, but we're built on slavery and genocide, right? No, we should not fucking be here. But this is illegally occupied territory where they're saying that the most moral army in the world, hey, we got a bunch of civilians that need to get out of there. Well, do you have anything for them? Can you get them out of there? Nah, God gave you 2 feet, so use those. Well, the ones we've left anyway. I know it's a mass disabling event, but God, dude, this is such pieces of shit.
It's the 209th Palestinian media worker killed since October 2023. Radio journalist Mohammed al-Bardawi was killed along with his wife and their 3 children in Israeli strike on their home in Khan Yunis just before dawn. In Lebanon, at least 4 people were killed, 7 others wounded overnight when Israel attacked a southern suburb of the capital, Beirut. The airstrike reportedly came without warning. It was the second such attack in less than a week and came despite a ceasefire agreement Israel signed with Hezbollah in November. In Jerusalem, Israeli police arrested a dozen protesters Monday as thousands marched, calling for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to resign, accusing him of sabotaging the release of remaining hostages held in Gaza and subverting efforts at a ceasefire.
The government has decided to go into holiday, the parliament, while we're still in a war. There's still bad situation going on. The hostages are still in Gaza, and this is an absurd situation, and we want it to end. We're also here to call for elections. We don't trust this government. Most of the people don't trust this government, and it has no more authority to rule.
So when you see stuff like this, remember that, listen to what she said. They went on holiday, and there's still hostages out there. The signs say, bring them home. The people of Israel that are protesting do not give a fuck about the 40,000 dead babies and women and babies, just so you know. Like, Zionists are protesting that there are still hostages out there, not that the country is committing genocide. Just remember that.
Continuing protests came as Israeli police arrested 2 of Netanyahu's top aides, Yonatan Urich and Eli Feldstein, charging them with accepting bribes from Qatar and then laundering the money. On Monday, Netanyahu's separate corruption trial was interrupted when he was summoned to testify in his aide's case. A dual citizen of the United Kingdom and the Gambia, who was twice suspended for joining pro-Palestinian and anti-genocide campus protests at Cornell University, has left the United States following ongoing threats of deportation by the Trump administration. Mamadou Tal explained his decision to leave, writing on social media, quote, "The repression of Palestinian solidarity is now being used to wage a wholesale attack on any form of expression that challenges oppressive and exploitative relations in the U.S. For every person that's remained silent, just know that you are not safe either. Is the imprisonment of those who speak against a genocide a reflection of your values? Is this the kind of nation you want to live in?" he asked. To see our interviews with Mamadou Tal when he was in Ithaca and outside, visit our website at democracynow.org. Meanwhile, several alumni from Columbia University School of International and Public Affairs, CIPA, have publicly ripped up their diplomas to protest the Trump administration's jailing of Mahmoud Khalil, the Palestinian Columbia graduate student protest leader who was abducted by ICE and flown.
Babe, when are you going to rip up your UW diploma? Your degree.
To an immigration jail in Louisiana. Even though he's a permanent U.S. resident, he had a green card. Protesters accused Columbia's administration of putting collaboration with federal agencies ahead of protecting students and their rights to free speech.
Columbia loves to celebrate its Vietnam-era legacy. It loves to talk about how brave students were for protesting. But why was it courageous then and criminalized now?
Columbia's vicious crackdown on protest, its attempts to silence pro-Palestinian students and faculty, has helped pave the way for the American fascism we see unfolding around us.
The Trump administration's launched an investigation into Harvard University, threatening to cut off more than $9 billion in federal grants and contracts over the school's response to student-led protests in solidarity with Gaza. A federal anti-Semitism task force is expected to visit the Harvard campus soon. A scathing op-ed in the Harvard Crimson student newspaper condemns the response of Harvard administrators as shameful, adding, quote, "Students are being hurt, threatened, and snatched off the street in real time as our administrators, whose primary responsibility should be defending the well-being of students, stay silent, leaving students to feel that they must fend for themselves," the op-ed read. Last week, the Harvard chapter of the American Association of University Professors joined a lawsuit against the Trump administration over its deportation of international students on ideological grounds. Meanwhile, 70% of Harvard Law School professors have signed a letter condemning the Trump administration for attacking law firms that represent causes and clients opposed by the Trump administration. President Trump on Sunday threatened to bomb Iran unless it reached.
And this is why I think it's important that people continue to use their voice to look at pro-Palestine marches that are happening in their area, because what they are doing is taking people who are vulnerable, right? Because they're doing all the shit that's like, sue me then, right? And then when you're sued, do they listen to the judge? You just got to kind of sit there and wait and find out. Raiding with a party. What's going on? Look at the raid. Lo Tigre. What's up? What's up from El Cifer? I can roll my R's. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. Hey, I appreciate the raid, Cypher, with the 14. Look, I know you just came over from having fun and listen to funny ass Cypher. Did he call anybody a Dominican whore? I don't know if he's like retired that one or not. Dominican whore maybe. But over here, a little more serious, a little bit more depressing, if you will. We do politics over here. I'm Robo, and this is LeftFace, where we talk about politics and what's going on in the world. We do have fun. Sometimes I'm pretty fucking funny, but it's kind of hard to be funny when you're talking about dead babies. But you get it. You understand. And we do usually close up with something a little bit more lighthearted, with something like Brain Rot, where we'll watch Balloon Pop or something. What we're going to do this time is we're going to watch the Jubilee Dr. Mike versus anti-vaxxers. So if you're an anti-vaxxer, stick around. I was going to say you might not like it here, but instead I'm going to say stick around, please. That's what's up. Thank you, Cypher.
Reaches a new agreement with the U.S. over its nuclear program. Trump's threat comes even though he unilaterally withdrew the U.S. from the Iran nuclear deal, known as the JCPOA, in 2018. On Sunday, the Iranian president, Masoud Pezeshkian, ruled out direct talks with the United States, but said Iran remained open to indirect negotiations. Meanwhile, Iran's Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei...
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. We're just doing the democracy now stuff right now. This Iranian stuff right here is listen, if anybody's worried about World War III, we need to be worried about Iran and Putin and China. Not because they're the bad guys, but because those are the countries that are, not because of the good guys either. Okay, let me make that clear. But those are the countries that are going to do something whenever the United States just goes a little bit too far. They just need that one little step. I was 23 years in the Air Force. The last 13 of them, I was a combatant. I've held secret clearances and top secret clearances. And let me tell you all something. With an absolute fact. You do not want to fuck with China. I'm not saying they'll win. I'm going to say everyone fucking loses. A U.S. and allies versus China and allies will be the easily the most deadly war humankind has ever seen. We will make the Black Plague look like flu season. Not Pakistan. Shit, you know Pakistan's going to be in that mix. Yeah, I'm talking about them and allies. Pakistan will be like, let's go, finally. Yeah.
He promised a punishing response to any U.S. attack.
The enmity from the U.S. and Israel has always been there. They threaten to attack us, which we don't think is very probable. But if they commit any mischief, they will surely receive a strong reciprocal blow.
China staged large-scale military drills.
And they proved it. They've proved it. See, that's the thing that people like, especially like chuds, people who think that America is big, bag, and untouchable. And let me remind you, if you need it, that we struck into Iran. And when I say we, I mean Trump's dumbass struck into Iran. And you know what Iran did? Threw missiles right back at us onto U.S. military bases, American military bases. And do you know what we did? Not a goddamn thing. Iran struck U.S. military bases. That would be to some people that's like no fucking way. That's impossible. Yes, the fuck what they did. Now you could say that because nobody died. I think some soldiers. Let's see. You know what? Let me not talk out of my ass. Let me see. Iran strikes U.S. bases in retaliation. Deaths. Here. Let me do this. Iran military bases in retaliation for killing general. Did anyone die? I wonder when we'll get to the talk of China, Korea, and Japan all uniting to respond to tariffs. I'll tell you what. I love it. I love it. January 8th, 2020, Iran launched a missile attack on U.S. military bases in Iraq, including Al-Assad Air Base, a really big base, as retaliation for the U.S. drone strike that killed Major General Qasem Soleimani. While there were no immediate fatalities among U.S. or Iraqi personnel, the attack resulted in significant injuries and damage. Initially, the U.S. assessments reported no casualties. However, in the days following the attack, it became evident that several service members had suffered traumatic brain injuries due to the blasts. In late January 2020, the Pentagon reported that 50 U.S. service members had been diagnosed with traumatic brain injuries as a result of the attack. The number of diagnosed cases eventually rose to 110. And what did we do about it? Not a goddamn thing, because I'm telling you, and they don't even have nukes. So we don't let anybody tell you that that nobody could touch us, because they did. I have a video talking about how Iran has developed small drones that are very effective kamikaze attacks. But yeah, we have those. What's interesting is that we have those, and we have another one that launches out of a mortar, so a mortar tube, and those are open source, so nobody should be arresting me for saying that. Look, if we have it, China has it. If China has it, Iran has it, right? Because Iran, Russia, and China, like Iran, Russia, and China is like the United States, Great Britain, and Canada. You know what I mean? It's like they're tight. Well, we were supposed to be tight, but now Trump is just saying, fuck all y'all. Yeah.
Tuesday off the coast of Taiwan, surrounding the island with land, air, and sea forces, and what the Chinese Foreign Ministry called a stern warning against Taiwanese independence. As it launched the war games, China's Eastern Theater Command...
This is going to be it right here, though. If World War III kicks off, I don't think it's going to be over Gaza. I really don't, unfortunately. When I say unfortunately, not that I want a World War III, but I don't think anybody's going to risk going all the way for Palestinians. And it's heartbreaking to say, but I don't think it. This is it. When China decides it's time and goes to take Taiwan, which I do not support, or I don't support it or not support it. It's what the fuck are we doing? We over here owning a whole ass Puerto Rican island, the oldest colony in the fucking planet, and we're telling another country that they can't have Taiwan when there's a longer history there between us and Puerto Rico. So what the fuck? I think we are. It is laughable to think that we have a say over there. That's not an us problem. But this is what it'll be over.
Called the Taiwanese president a parasite and released a video depicting him as an insect held by chopsticks over a burning Taiwan. Earlier today, China's foreign ministry called Taiwan's eventual reunification with China an unstoppable historical trend.
The Democratic Progressive Party authorities stubbornly adhere to a separatist stance on Taiwan independence, an attempt to seek independence by relying on external forces. Such efforts are doomed to failure, as they are like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. China's reunification is an unstoppable historical trend. It will happen, and it must happen.
China's
like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Look. If I didn't have family, no, let me stop. Let me just say, in the past, 6 months, I've already assumed that we've been lying about China and anybody who's our enemy for, this is years now. Okay, I understand that. I've never thought that China was like this evil, dictatorship, communist, blah, 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 blah. Are they great? Nah, probably not great. You know what I mean? They're not good with censorship. I'm not saying that China is like some utopia, but neither is fucking the USA. And considering how nice shit can be in China, I don't know. China's growing on me. And they get like 2.5 more points just for saying like a mantis against a chariot. All right. I know people of Chinese Taiwanese descent who are Americans that live half the year with their family. Here's a question. Those people that you know, do you know if they're for or against reunification, or are they for the status quo? From what I understand, because last time this came up, we got a briefing on this when I was still active duty. And from what I understand, the majority of the island wants the status quo, which is weird because that's the same exact thing that it is with Puerto Rico. But the majority of the island wants to maintain the status quo. There is a part of the population that wants to reunify with China, and a part of the island that wants to be independent. But the majority want, hey, can we just, like, how it is right now is really good, not dying, not turning the island into a wasteland because two world powers want to stop the other one from doing their thing. Yeah, status quo. That makes sense. That's most people. And it's not even, what's funny about the status quo thing, if you think about it, they just don't want war and hate. Yeah, listen, that's exactly what I was about to say. The funny thing about the status quo, people who vote the status quo, that still doesn't tell you whether or not they're more pro-independence or more pro-China. Or status quo means I do not want a war on my island. And the United States of America has the goal to say that if China wants Taiwan and Taiwan wants to go, we'll go to war to protect China. No, to protect U.S. interests. That's what they want. So we don't lose strategic strength in the Pacific, in the China Sea, which might be called the American Sea by now. I'm not sure. I have to check in with Trump.
Military drills come after U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth wrapped up his first official visit to Asia Sunday with reassurances to Japan that President Trump is seeking to boost military cooperation with its allies in the region to counter China's power.
I just saw you, see Rouse. My bad. Howdy, Robo. LeftFace TV in chat. Taking a break this week. Robo, a tough client. Damn, I'm sorry to hear that. Take a breather. Man-eaters dealing with some stuff too, and it's a rough time. Take a breather.
Capitol Hill. New Jersey Democratic Senator Cory Booker is continuing a marathon speech from the Senate floor, warning the U.S. faces a crisis over President Trump.
25 hours. I get it. I get it. It's not, he's not like the Patriot running onto the battlefield with an American flag behind, right? 25 hours. That's a long ass time.
Trump's disregard for the rule of law and his efforts to dismantle entire government programs and agencies. Booker's all-night filibuster came after the State Department formally notified Congress it's dissolving the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID. Also on Monday, the Trump administration announced it would place the entire staff of the Institute of Museum and Library Services on administrative leave. The independent federal agency provides grants to libraries and museums across the United States. Meanwhile, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin ordered the closure of the National Environmental Museum at the EPA's headquarters in Washington, D.C. A federal judge has temporarily blocked the Trump administration's efforts to end deportation relief and work permits for hundreds of thousands of Venezuelan immigrants with temporary protected status. Approximately 350,000 Venezuelans with TPS could have faced mass deportation by early April, but the decision will allow them to stay in the United States while the measure's challenged in court. In his ruling, San Francisco federal judge Edward Chen said Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's move to terminate TPS for Venezuelans would, quote, inflict irreparable harm on hundreds of thousands of persons whose lives, families, and livelihoods will be severely disrupted, cost the United States billions in economic activity, and injure public health and safety in communities throughout the United States, the judge said. In related news, the Trump administration's transferred another group of immigrants to a supermax mega prison complex in El Salvador, the second such removal from the U.S. in 2 weeks. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said Monday 17 immigrants from Venezuela and El Salvador accused of being gang members have been sent to Salvadoran mega prison Sunday after previously being detained at Guantanamo Bay Naval Base in Cuba. Hundreds of immigrants and asylum seekers have been expelled to El Salvador without due process, with many accused of belonging to gangs largely on the basis of having tattoos. One Venezuelan asylum seeker currently languishing in the Salvadoran Supermax prison was detained and removed for tattoos on each forearm, one that read Mom and one that read Dad.
What a gang. Look at that gangbanger right there. Man, if only there was like a process by which we could confirm whether or not somebody was a gang member. Like a process that most people are due. We can call it like due process or something. And then you wouldn't accidentally deport people who aren't in gangs because they have a tattoo of Mom and Dad.
Meanwhile, the Trump administration has admitted in a court filing that a Maryland father from El Salvador with protected status was among the hundreds of immigrants who were transferred to El Salvador's mega prison complex earlier this month. Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia, who lived in Maryland with his family, was granted protected status in 2019, prohibiting the federal government from sending him back to El Salvador after he fled gang violence. The Trump administration said Garcia was removed to El Salvador, quote, because of an administrative error, but that it could not bring him back to the U.S. because he's now in Salvador's custody. And people around the world marked International Transgender Day of Visibility Monday. Here in the U.S., thousands gathered nationwide as trans and non-binary communities fight back against repeated attacks by the Trump administration. This is I
want to make sure that everybody heard that correctly. I want to make sure there is a dude who was here legally, not a gang member. He was a legal permanent resident. He was rounded up and due to an administrative error, yeah, the fuck right, taken to El Salvador's Supermax prison. And now the administration have said, sorry, I wish we could, but he's with El Salvador. Like, do you want us to invade El Salvador? They don't have that much oil, so why would we do that? You know, the president of the United States could call over there and say, hey, we accidentally gave you somebody. This was an accident. Can we send somebody over to get him from you? And I don't know. I would just be willing. I'm going to assume that the answer would be like, oh, yeah, somebody's here that's not supposed to be here. First of all, nobody's supposed to be there. It's fucking illegal for us to deport people who are not documented to other countries besides their home country. Like, you're not supposed to do. If they're Mexican, you're supposed to send them back to Mexico. That's what you're supposed to do. You don't round up a bunch of people and go, oh, you're not here legally. Well, we drop everybody off in Antarctica. Sorry, we have a Supermax in Antarctica just for you. That's literally illegal, and somehow it's just happening. It's just happening. One of these people were not undocumented. They were actually documented. Hey, come here the right way, they said. Come here the right way. He was a legal permanent resident with a green card, and now he's sitting in an El Salvador Supermax prison next to MS-13 gang members.
17-year-old Lorelei Green.
They are trying to criminalize our existence. You see that with even on Trump's first day in office. He passed an executive order declaring that there's only male and female and eliminating the option of X-gender markers on passports. That was a direct attempt to erase trans people. Then you saw it with his ban on gender-affirming care for people under 19. That's again trying to erase the existence of trans people by denying them life-saving health care. We see over and over again that the Trump administration is targeting trans people in order to attempt to erase us. And that's why we are showing up, to show them that this is not going to happen, that we are visible, showing our visibility that he is not going to erase us no matter how hard he tries.
And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman in New York, joined by Democracy Now!'s Juan Gonzalez.
Why didn't the volume turn off on that? Why would it do that? It's what's supposed to happen. It's definitely what's supposed to happen. Well, why would it do that? That took a little bit longer than I expected, and she talked about a lot of the things that we were going to go over. So, let's go straight to some more. Let's go straight to the thing that I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit. I don't know that I'm going to watch the whole thing. It's only 13 minutes, so fuck it. Did I intentionally spell Alonia's name in the thumbnail title? Alonia? In the thumbnail. Let me see. What did I do? I mean, obviously, the answer is yes. Wait, what thumbnail? I put looting the White House. Looting the White House. Alonia. In the thumbnail title. Musk. Elonia. Must. Got it. No, I didn't. Good catch. Good catch. I'm like, who the fuck is Elonia? You can't. Today is not the day to be speaking in code because I am not quick with it. It's not today. I am. I gotta change it over here. Judge. Let's see here. Edit allows Musk. Save. Thank you. Appreciate that. Please listen to y'all. This is a one-man show. If you all see errors like that, don't think you're calling me out. If you can't hear something, if something's misspelled, if I'm talking about something serious and you see there's brain rot still up on the screen, please tell me something. Please tell me something. Damn, I was just about to do something else and I can't remember. Oh, yeah. One second. I just realized the ticker's not on. If the ticker's not on, you know. By the way, since I'm doing this anyway, remember that you could support the stream any number of ways, Twitch or whatever, but I'm not monetized on YouTube. So if you're a YouTube watcher, you can always go to streamlabs.com/LeftFaceTV/tip. If you want to donate. And any donos that go on during Nerds of Culture, I get half of those. So many ways to support the independent commentary that I provide here. So the next thing that I want to talk about is that is arguably, some would say, not in my lane to talk about. I've said multiple times, you all have heard me say this probably too many times, that I am not Afro-Latino, right? And I always like to clarify, just in case there's anybody new listening, I always like to clarify that when I say I'm not Afro-Latino, I'm not using that in a, like, I know Black Papi type thing. If I was raised black, even if my ancestry.com came back majority black, like if I felt like I moved through the world like a black man does, and I wasn't co-opting struggle that I don't have, then I would definitely be proud to say that I was a black man, but I'm not. So some people there are some people who feel that if you are not black, then anything that has to do with black issues or black opinions, when they're specifically about black issues like that, then you need to not talk about it. And I'll be honest with you, I don't get mad at that opinion. I don't argue that opinion. I don't debate that opinion. I just disagree. Now, there are things that I choose that I look at and I go, that's not for me. That's not for me. You know what I mean? If I feel personally Oh, the puppies are here. If I feel personally, I'll give an example. If I feel personally that there's something problematic in Black culture, right? Whatever it is, I'm not going to give an example, but let's say there was, and I thought, man, even like progressive, I've seen progressive African Americans and leftist African Americans. There's this thing that is very prominent in the culture. This thing. It's not a real thing. I'm just talking hypothetically here. I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't automatically assume that I could speak on it, right? But again, if it's not something too specific, I have more than a little bit of African in me. I know that ancestry, ancestry DNA, those tests are not 100% accurate, and it goes off statistics and genome markers that are, again, it's mostly math than me looking at DNA. I get it. I've heard it all, but according to that, I'm 24% African nations, 24% African nations, like 25% indigenous Puerto Rico, something like over half is from the Iberian Peninsula. It's like Portuguese and Spanish. I'm not gonna claim. Clearly, this motherfucker's not white, so I'm obviously the percentages don't really fucking matter. Like, I'm not saying I'm not Black because of a certain percentage, right? Because if we were gonna go by that, then I guess I'm white now, right? Because about half of my DNA comes from Europe, between Spain and Portugal. So I guess I'm white. No. So I don't really care that much about the percentages. Really, what I go about is it's vibes, right? And if you think about it, since race is a social construct and is kind of in the history of humankind brand new, I think it makes sense to kind of go off vibes, right? It's how we know that we have to use words like white passing, even though your dad is a whole Black man, and if your mom is white and you are 50% Black as fuck, but guess what? The fucking genes roll comes out, and you have European textured hair, and you have light skin, and you got green eyes, and maybe your lips are just a little bit bigger, but that's in style now, and maybe your ass is a little bit juicier, but that's in style now, and now you just kind of look like a white girl with a fat ass, or a pog, if you will. Is that girl's Black? Of course she's Black, but like, we have to find another term. We call it mixed race, and we call it biracial and white passing. We have this other stuff because clearly being Black is more than DNA. Being Black is, like any other race, the racial categorization has to do with how you move. This is a lot to bring up something that's not even going to be talked about in this. This is a lot, but I'll wrap it up right here. How do you move through the world? And if you present as a white person, more or less, it's okay. You get to be proud of your heritage, be proud of where you came from. I'm proud of the Puerto Rican, the African influence in Puerto Rico. I'm proud of the African influence in me, in my DNA. But I just know that I do not move through the world like a Black man does. I don't move through the world like a white man does, right? I think it's a spectrum. But I will tell you, believe it or not, I've just lived my life long enough to be able to observe what's around me. I've been a conservative. I've been a centrist. I am definitely a far left radical, as Trump would call me. And I know for a fucking fact that me walking down the street and a dark-skinned African-American or Afro-Latino, we are not being looked at the same way by cops. Not being looked at well by cops, but while I might get harassed or frisked, the Black dude's probably is way more likely to get shot. It just is. So vibes. Okay. All that said, this topic I'm still talking on. I don't care if I'm not black. Okay, that was really, I just spent all that to be able to just say that. Okay. I made a comment to this video and it rubs some. Let's see, let's just pull it up.
Listen.
I made a comment to this video and it was shut down pretty much immediately by someone asking me, "Are you black?" I guess it died. Some people were responding. It didn't really blow up. I don't know. Maybe, you know what? They might have removed it. I wonder if they removed it. But I made a comment and somebody goes in there and says, "Are you black?" And I knew what they were getting. And they're like, okay. So my opinion is going to be dismissed because I'm not black. And by the way, valid. I do think that's valid. I'm not just saying that. But I'm still going to give my opinion anyway. You know what I'm saying? So however you guys feel about what I have to say, I want you guys to be, I want everybody here to be, just say, speak your mind. Even if it's, I don't think you should have talked on this. I feel like we have a rapport here. You know what I mean? Unless you're brand new and you're lurking in the background, the people who are chatting here, I think we all have a rapport that I don't think, I'm going to take whatever you have to say, whatever criticism of this segment you have, I'm going to read it in good faith and not just somebody being a dickhead, you know, because we've already established a rapport there. So feel free to disagree, but let's watch it.
Interesting. Trump protest planned for April 5th. Some black folk are saying, we're going to sit this one out.
Completely agree on the spectrum. At work, I was assumed black and from mixed parents. When I speak Spanish, I get told I must have learned from school. I'm Dominican, Afro-Latino American. Yeah, see? Yeah. And then that speaks to a different sort of like anti-blackness in the Latin world. And not really, yeah. I'm telling you, this is why I tell people all the time, like there is something, this is why people sometimes wonder, like, oh, I think the way I go hard for Afro-Latinos and the black and brown solidarity, people assume that I'm black. But I think that's just people who don't, like, you can be passionate about something that's not necessarily like directly involves me with regard to like anti-blackness in Latin culture. But that right there says it right there. Like if other people are looking at Gilles Mora, which is a black man from the Dominican Republic, right? Or, and they assume he's an African-American who just learned Spanish. What do you think is happening with the cops? What do you think is happening with people on interviews, neighbors? This is what I mean by walking through the world. Gilles Mora is Latino. He is Dominican. But his blackness is not erased by any of that because he will still move through the world like every other black man, regardless of where they're from. And I need both. I need Latin people who are ignorant on this topic and African Americans who are ignorant on this topic to really lock it in. And I just there's some people who just refuse.
There it is.
1 million people are going to march in the United States on April 5th. 1 million people.
Sit your black ass down.
I didn't say it wasn't funny. It is funny. Okay.
Now, black people, on April 5th, I have about 10 things that I need y'all to be doing. Let's start with it. Number 1, I need y'all to go to the beach and mop up the water. Yes, I do.
Sit your black ass down.
Number 2, I need y'all to open up y'all coffee seeds and count how many y'all have, okay? And let me know the number.
How many you
Sit your black ass down.
Number 3, I need y'all to go to Costco's. Go into the candy aisle. Get jelly beans and tell me how many it is. I need that. Yeah.
Sit your
Okay, so we get it. We get it. Let's see.
down.
Oh, that was the last one anyway.
Because we not marching at all.
Right. We're not marching at all. The fuck?
All right. Not the sentiment of everyone, but the sentiment.
Okay, so I need to tell, just in case there's anybody who doesn't get it. This is in response to the elections, right? When if you've ever heard the 92% didn't know, right? Like if you don't have a lot of black people on your social media, maybe you don't know what people have meant when you've seen 92%. It has to do with the amount of black women voters who voted for Harris. 92% of black women who voted for Harris. And then hardly a couple percent lower is black men. So black people in general, if you voted, you were like in the 90th percentile. You damn near 9 out of 10 black people voted for Trump. Let's put it that way. Harris. And so by that fact, anything that happens today, all right, because I'm just steel manning right now. Anything that happens today is, don't look at me. I voted for Harris. This shit that's happening right now, that's y'all. And then it goes a little bit deeper than that, okay? And it might be said later, but I'm gonna bring it up now anyway. It goes a little bit deeper than that. And again, I'm steel manning here because I don't want to straw man, and I don't want to like poison the well. The deeper goes, and this is, I haven't disagreed yet, by the way. I'm not at my disagreeing because this is facts I'm talking. That there are black folks, especially black women, who are tired of bearing the burden of saving us, right? We've talked about this. I've had mutuals on threads that they wanted to disagree, and we had to part ways because he wanted to throw some shit like where did you hear that shit? Blah blah blah. We know that the most abused group of individuals on this earth are the black woman. Is the black woman. Okay. And they have constantly been having to fight for the United States, fight for the black communities, fight for their sons and their daughters and their brothers and sisters. And black women are saying, I'm tired. We voted. You go. If you want to save the country, do it. And I understand that. Let's watch a little bit more, and then I'll give my thoughts on it. I mean, I'm not gonna bury the lead too much. I think I agree with like 99% of the way, but I think that 1% where I disagree is extremely important.
You know, quite a few, enough to highlight for sure. So according to the Root, okay, in the 2024 election, 57% of white people voted to elect current President Donald Trump a second.
I want you to keep that number in your pocket. 57%. Statistically, we're like about half and half, right? Maybe a little bit more than half, right? 'Cause sometimes you start talking about margins of error. So if you're like 1%, 2%, whatever. But we're talking about a little more than half of white people voted for Trump, which puts almost half of white people voted for Harris. But all right. Let me get the language right. Let me get the language, because this is another annoying thing of mine. Of the voters, and then I'm gonna bring that up later. Of the people who voted. So out of all white voters, a little more than half voted for Trump and almost half voted for Harris.
Time. Now, it seems they are having buyer's remorse.
Okay. No. That's the part. That's the part right there. That was like, I love him. I am not smarter than him. if you want to be told facts and learn some shit, go watch The Good Doctor. Okay, so I'm not standing here assuming I know more than him, but on this shit, he's wrong. And it's actually like big wrong. I'm like, what are you talking about? I think anybody who thinks, listen, anybody who thinks that white people, Latinos, whatever, MAGA, that people who voted for Trump are this dream that everybody, there's just this giant group of people, man, what did we do? I think those people who say something like that are really underestimating how powerful this cult is. Because make no mistake, it's a cult. When you look at the numbers that Trump won, the amount of votes that Trump won, and you in 2024, and the amount of votes Trump got in 2020, they're about the same. Go look at them. Go look up 2020 elections for Donald Trump, the vote count, and the 2024 elections, and look at the vote count for Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump wants to talk about this great, like this big, wow, this historical thing. It's about the same amount of votes. Now, votes did shift around. They did shift around, but Trump didn't like all of a sudden mobilize all these extra people to bring in this landslide vote. You know what happened? People stayed home. Now that could piss you off, and if it does, okay. I was about to say I don't know what to tell you, but I do because I'm about to say it. I've been saying this since, and you can go to my threads, and you can scroll back to October 2024. Scroll back to September 2024. I have been saying it since before the election. I said it. I've been repeating myself over and over again. She's gonna fucking lose. Because what would you do differently from Biden? I wouldn't do anything different from Biden. She says, well, President Biden has a 34% approval rating. I wouldn't do anything different from Biden. The approval rating was 34%. I think we're going too far left. When you look at the 2020 elections, okay, before you get mad at Jill Stein and Cornel West voters, when you look at the 2020 elections and you look who came out in massive record-setting numbers, killed the black vote, killed the queer vote, killed the youth vote. People who typically don't vote came out in droves. Why did that happen? Does anybody think that Biden brought out record numbers of certain groups because everyone in those groups thought to themselves, this guy's going to be a moderate. This guy is going to work hand in hand with Republicans. You know, Biden, I would have never voted, but today I'm gonna, because he's gonna ride that line and sometimes make Republicans happy and sometimes make us. No, he was sitting there talking about progressive ideas. Did he do them? No. You know, he was great with labor, but I'm just talking about the campaign. The campaign was on progressive values. When Harris campaigned, started off strong. Your boy was happy. I remember texting a buddy of mine, me and Judah, we were texting like, she's gonna run. He dropped out, she's going, let's go. I'm the one who says that voting's not the end all be all. Voting just might be the least you could fucking do. And I was excited. Everybody was excited. maybe like the most staunch, like super commie, super anarchist, all voting is garbage. Okay, maybe that like ultra, all 32 of those people, they weren't excited. But every other leftist who understands that voting is not the end all be all and is actually one of the least effective things that you can do for your country because you can't break down the master's house with his own tools, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But even we were excited. I wouldn't change anything from Biden. Nope, I'm going to keep fracking. Nope, I am not going to, an arms embargo is not going to be on the table. Israel will always have our support. We will always arm Israel. Israel will always be able to defend itself as it's doing a genocide. And the Palestinian people deserve peace and autonomy. She would say these things while telling us, hey, by the way, everything that Israel's doing, they're going to keep having the bombs to do it. I'm going to make sure they always can do it, just so you know. And so there were people who were like, no, I cannot vote for somebody who's going to continue the genocide. Now, myself and quite a few other people, especially in this state of Georgia, that is a swing state, I still voted for Harris. Other people voted for Harris as well. Now, certain people were like, I'm proud to vote for Harris. I'm in the 92%. Fuck you all. This is all yours. Some of us were like, ugh, fuck, man. Obviously, Trump's worse. Nobody will argue that Trump's worse. When we say Republicans are the same as Democrats, we're talking about the bigger system. Like, Obama fucking overthrew Libya without congressional approval. We had Obama drone striking Americans without due process. I don't give a fuck. They were terrorists anyway. They're Americans. That's exactly what's happening now. I don't give a fuck. He was a terrorist anyway. Then you might as well be saying I don't give a fuck. They're illegal anyway, because that's exactly what the Trumpers are saying. Like, hey, you know that dude? Hey, he probably was illegal. I bet you when his green card expired, he wasn't gonna leave. We're better than that. Let me see real quick. Where's Jill Stein, Cornell West? Okay. Why don't their voters take some action? Is it just me thinking this? Okay, let me tell y'all something. My name Dex. What makes you think? Why isn't this showing? Is it buried somewhere? Social Ninja chat. Where's that at? Yeah, that's that chat. Camera, emote wall. I want to be able to highlight your shit. I think I'm let's see, source scene. Social Ninja featured chat overlay. That's what it is. Boom. All right. There you go. All right. One thing that I have to say about this, my name Dex, is why do you think they're not? Like, what makes anybody think that the people who didn't vote for Harris aren't going to be at this protest and haven't been at every protest since? Like, of course, I would assume that if your principles were so like, I cannot vote for somebody who's going to continue the genocide, vote for a party who doesn't do anything about, again, I voted for Harris. I understand Trump's worse. That's why I did it. But I'm also not going to be angry at people who are saying, do nothing about the wage disparity, do nothing about the wealth gap, do nothing about generational wealth amongst generationally wealthy families that are typically, and 99.999% of them are white. Like, are things worse now under Trump? Absolutely. But somebody out there said, I have to draw a line somewhere, and genocide is it. I'm not going to be mad at those people. And those people are probably at the protest as well. I would be silly to assume that the only people expected to show up at this protest are black folks. In popular opinion, when she lost election, Biden should have stepped down and made her president for 2 months just to kill the trademark for. That would have been the most baller fucking move. Maneater07, I apologize. Let me close the door. You do have to work tomorrow. I apologize. Hold on. And yes, that is Goku on my shorts. For a brief second, there was a small glimmer of hope that was immediately dashed away. Exactly. The people who never voted, but they voted for, they came out for 2020, went back to not voting. The people who couldn't vote, okay. Both parties take money from big corporate interests. Yep. On a side note, looks like Susan Crawford has been called as the winner in Wisconsin for the Wisconsin Supreme Court, the judges thing, right? I'm going to be honest, I was not following it. Susan Crawford, Wisconsin. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Like, I know that it was like on the line, and liberals will maintain their narrow, so that's a good thing. Okay. Liberals will maintain their narrow majority on the court after Crawford's victory in the first battleground state election of Trump's second term. By the way, that is a sign. You look at like approval polls, this same thing happened. It happened in Wisconsin. There was another battleground state where somebody else, I can't remember right now, but these are states that Trump won. They're like, bloop. I don't know how far it's going to go. I would like to see it happen in Florida, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe we'll see another 2020 and 2026 for the midterm would be nice. If the Democrats could take the House and Senate, that'll be a Band-Aid on an artery cut. That'll be a Band-Aid on. It'll be a tourniquet on an artery. I don't want to downplay it too much. Florida is winning both special elections. What do you say? Florida is the conservatives or the liberals winning the elections? Because let's be real. Like I'm a leftist. Again, I'm a leftist. I know, but we live in the system that we live in right now. And right now, you would rather live under a liberal than a conservative. Would I rather be a leftist? Of course. But we don't live in a society. We live in a capitalist society, and as long as we have to do that, I want the liberals to win. Oh, the conservatives are winning. All right. Well, I honestly not surprising. Florida's fucking lost. It's lost in the sauce. Okay. So I think we're good to continue. I think y'all understand where I'm coming from. Let's continue.
And are preparing to get information to let the White House know how they feel about the president they voted for. So Indivisible, Move On, and the Human Rights Campaign, these are all allies, okay, are among those groups working together.
Does anybody think that there are no black folks inside those organizations? Do people think that? I think there's this weird thing that people do when it comes to like what I believe. There's this idea that everybody thinks like me. And so that group must be like somebody who doesn't look like me. You know who we see this happen? Who we see do this a lot? Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle will talk about black folks and the queer community. And the queer community does this, and that. But black folks, this, and that. And then the queer... Do you not think there are black folks in the queer community? Do you not like understand intersectionality, right? All those groups that he named, there are black folks in those groups. Why they're allies? They're not allies. They contain black folks. But maybe he means allies in that the mission is not focused 100% on black issues like other black organizations are. Okay. But don't act like black folks aren't in those organizations.
Together to organize a national day of action on April 5th to protest what President Donald Trump and co-president Elon Musk are doing in the country, and the Republican members of Congress who are sitting by watching and not doing a damn thing. But as they try to mobilize people to show up in big numbers at the state capitals and congressional offices to make their voices heard, many black people on TikTok are warning in the most hilarious way to stay home. In a new viral trend, some black people are hearing the call of their ancestors telling them, quote, sit your black ass down, as you heard in the mantra. Meanwhile, on top of all of this, you have folks online asking where is former VP Harris, saying that she should speak out.
Stupid. Anybody asking where Harris is, I'm going to tell you right now, I've heard defenses for it. I've heard people say that, no, she should still be using her. I don't think anybody owes anybody a goddamn thing. I think that is the silliest thing ever. That's silly. That's silly. I got the best answer. You told to fuck off. So here's the only thing I'll say about that. I think we're doing an overgeneralization again, right? Just like when we say like these are ally organizations, as if those organizations don't have black folks in them. There are people asking where is Harris that voted for Harris. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody who's asking where's Harris, we want to believe that because now you told Kamala to fuck off and she did, hits harder. And I understand that answers to the people who couldn't vote for her, and that's fine. But understand there are Harris voters that are like, wow, I voted for you. You were this, you were that, and you disappeared. I'm telling the people who didn't vote for her and the people who did vote for her, asking where she's at, let that lady breathe. She was vice president for 4 years. She probably spent 23 hours out of 24 hours a day running a campaign there at the end. I imagine she is going to come back in the public eye. If for no other reason, because this pays money and it sells books. But she needs to breathe. Let her breathe. She doesn't owe anyone anything. That's fair. It's all good. It's all good. She's at my place playing Tekken with my wife. I like how you say you had to throw in there with my wife. Because one thing Harris isn't is no one can say she's ugly.
Against Trump. This is a political dynamic, but I want to make sure that I allow their opinions to be heard. Here it is.
Did you see all them folks up here asking about where Kamala Harris at? Why they all of a sudden looking for Kamala? Where was they at in November?
I've been seeing this thing like, where's Kamala at? Where Kamala at? Why are you worried about it? Why you?
You're right, John. And let me tell you something. Not to break my arm, patting myself on the back, but I was actually talking about Cypher World about this. I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna blow up. I really don't. And that's not like woe is me or nothing like that. I promise. I think people who blow up figure out the game, right? They figure it out and they know what to do, right? So Ernie, if Ernie's ever told you his story, Ernie had a website. Ernie's had multiple YouTube channels that he couldn't get off the ground. And then Blur Without Fear is going, and it's going how most beginner YouTube things going. And then he drops a video that blows up. And then he drops another video. And I think, wait, what's the trend here? X-Men. And he becomes the X-Men for black folks guy. and he blows up. And Ernie's smart enough to know, I want to succeed, and I'm going to take this and succeed, right? Cypher, that dude fucking is speed running to 100K right now. And me and him have been friends since the very beginning of the whole experience. Struggle. He blows up, he finds a niche, and it's him saying lore like being the funny as fuck. And so what does he do? Well, I don't want to do lore all the time. No, fuck that. He knows how to play the game. He's like, I'm gonna do more lore videos. I got a video with the Puerto Rico and Logan Paul shit. And for me, anyway, for me numbers, it blew up. I got over 2K. And I'm like, wow, okay, that did okay. Cypher texts me. He's like, oh, you got to do more. You got to do more like that. Because Cypher knows how to play the game. He knows what he would do if he was me. I'm not going to make every fucking video about Puerto Rico. First of all, I'm not from there. My heart is there, right? My people come from there. But I would be lying if I said that my passion for Puerto Rico matches my passion for the politics of the United States of America or shit like that, right? And so I don't know how to play the game. I don't know if it's my ADHD or something, but I look at shit I don't want to do and I don't do it. Which means I'm probably not going to blow up because it's going to be something that hits and I'm supposed to stay on top of that shit for the algorithm. And I'm going to be like, nah, I don't want to anymore. So here's what that tells you. You ever see a video come out from me? I don't care if it bombs or if it hits. If you ever see me post something, it is literally the only thing. It is, you see it because I want you to see it. It means that is something that I truly feel. I feel like I do a short, I do a video. It's because at that moment I go, man, I gotta fucking say something about this shit. I could drive. I gotta say something about it. And maybe that video gets 6 views. I don't know. Sometimes maybe it'll get 2,000 something. Okay. But I'm not chasing the algorithm. Because I don't know. I don't have, you know what? Let me stop sugarcoating. I don't have the discipline to chase the algorithm. That's the real answer. So I'm with you.
Worried about where she at. When she was here, y'all didn't want to hear. Like, this is getting on my nerves. I have never seen y'all care so much about what a vice president did.
Let me flip it though. Let me flip it what he's saying though, real quick. I already answered. I'm not taking it back. I'm not tap dancing. I'm just gonna give a true devil's advocate here. Okay, so take it with a grain of salt, and please do not mistake this as my opinion. I'm giving a devil's advocate just for some food for thought. Which I'm not, if I was one of those people like, where's Kamala Harris right now? Let me tell you what I would be saying, the perspective I would be taking. I could make an argument, but I'm not. Devil's advocate. I could be taking the perspective of what happened. I thought she cared about America. I thought she was with it to all the way. Because you seem to not, you seem to only care about them. Did you only care about women and everything else when you wanted to become president? And now that you're not going to become president, that's it? And the only reason why I say that is not to hide the fact that that's what I really think, but I don't want to say. This is the kind of stuff that I think about when I want to find empathy for other people. I'm not going to be mad at people. I'm going to think it's dumb because I do think she should be allowed to breathe, but I'm not going to be mad at people for having that question, because if I try hard enough, I can okay, I can make up an argument for that. Okay. And but I think the argument of she lost the vote, why do you expect her to stick around? I think that is also a stronger argument. But just think about that stuff. When you find yourself disagreeing with somebody, try your best to steel man what they're telling you at that time, right? Like, it's hard. It's hard. If I tell you hey, why does that person think that then? Right? Try to see it from their point of view. So seeing it from their point of view, what do you think? Okay, let me try to be them. I think this because I'm a dumb motherfucker who doesn't understand. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Did any of y'all check on Mitt Romney when he lost?
Yeah.
Did any of y'all go check on what's old buddy John McCain when he lost? Did any of you? Did you even care? No, you didn't. At the end of the day, do you think you include the same people? This is what I mean about like things that just sound good, like they sound sharp, but if you break them down too much, you realize it doesn't really make much sense. Did you ask? He doesn't though. Hold on. This delay is killing me. He doesn't have a point, and let me explain why. Let me explain. When people want to he sounds like he's spitting, but then when you just pause for a second and listen to what he's saying, why do you care where Harris is at? Did you ask where John McCain was at? Did you ask where Mitt Romney was at? Well, John McCain and Mitt Romney were conservative Republicans. That doesn't... why would in this sentence, why would the people who wanted Harris to win be wondering where McCain was at? They'd be glad that they fell off the earth, right? And oh, by the way, John McCain went into the Senate after he ran for president, but whatever. So he definitely didn't disappear. He was in the Senate. But you see what I'm saying? Like, oh, you didn't want to vote for her here, but now you wonder where she's at. Well, who are you talking to? Are you talking to the Trump voters? The Trump voters don't care where she's at. Are you sure that the people asking where she's at are the people who couldn't vote for her in the first place? Because I promise you, there's no leftist who calls her a genocide enabler is asking where she's at right now. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So when you break these things down, that it's just venting. It's just we're angry and we're venting now, and in the words of Cypher, it'd be like that sometimes. Mind your business. It don't matter where she at. Y'all didn't want her here.
So let's say you apply to a job. You interview, you make it to the last round of that job. It's you and one other person. You don't get chosen for that job. Do you then hang out around that job, still see if maybe there's something available, still talk about that job, ask if you can volunteer? Oh no, you're moved on to the next thing. That's what Kamala Harris is doing. She's resting.
Yeah,
she didn't get the job.
I respect that.
She told y'all all of the things that are currently happening were going to happen. Nobody believed her, and now I see all of these people on my For You page, mainly white men, which is interesting, asking, where is Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris is minding her business, as she should be.
Both.
I tuned into Bernie's Fight the Oligarchy tour. Great speech. Awesome. He is not saying anything that Kamala Harris didn't say on the campaign trail. Yes, he's saying the word oligarchy out loud, but Kamala Harris said fascism. Kamala Harris said wannabe dictator. Kamala Harris mentioned the billionaire class that Donald Trump was wanting to give tax cuts to, and not the working class people that she was trying to focus on. I am glad that people are energized by Bernie, but it really just is why the did you need an old ass white man to say that while we were actively under duress?
I would be naive and incredibly ignorant if I thought that Bernie Sanders' whiteness isn't part of what projects his message. I do think that his whiteness is muted a little bit by his obvious Jewish, what do they call it? The Kiddush, or, that New York Jewish accent. You know what I mean? I do think it's muted by that a little bit, but yes, obviously he's helped by that. But do you know what really it's about? It's because Bernie Sanders lives according to the principles, more or less, of what he's trying to get out there. You know what I mean? Like, how many times have you seen videos of Bernie Sanders sitting in coach? Yeah, he has multiple houses, but he also fucking has a book that sold really, really well. You know what I mean? But he doesn't live lavishly. He's not sitting there in mega mansions or nothing. You know what I mean? Like, when he has been preaching the same thing since the days of the civil rights, where there's pictures of him marching in the parade with Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to today. His messaging has been Yiddish. There you go. His message has been consistent, and his morals and principles are stone. They're set in stone. Whereas Harris is calling. She's right. She definitely still also called him a fascist and a wannabe dictator, but she's saying this while 100% committed to supporting presidents who have, supported cops being used on college students protesting genocide, who was committed to arming the people doing a genocide. Committed to supporting a president who shut down train union strikes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so there's a little bit of a difference of Bernie Sanders, who's committed his life to these democratic socialist ideals, than somebody who is saying all the right things, but what we've seen in the Biden Harris thing doesn't really, you know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. When you do the coalition video speaking against people giving hell to Trump supporters, asking for help. Now, be sure to look up LaToya Jane on TikTok. Bad. LaToya Jane. Was she the one that Francesca just called out? Gave a shout out to, and now she's on Threads. And she laughed at our old girl, the black MAGA lady, and she clowned her. Was that her? Is that LaToya Jane? Bernie is about saying do good, hurt no one, and help everyone prosper. Yeah. Low key is Zionist though, so nobody's perfect. Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah, that shit was funny. That shit was funny. Let me tell y'all something. You know how everybody talks about how the real reason why the white world hates black people is penis envy, right? Which, by the way, if you've gotten to have the pleasure of hearing, that's how you know I don't move through the world also, right? Because being a Latin dude with a white wife at the time, I got to hear some fucking wild ass shit that they would never say in front of a black dude, right? And let me tell you all something. The number one thing that a white dude, if they're talking shit about a white woman, if they want to like shit on her hardcore, they will use all kinds of verbiage to say that she likes to have sex with black dudes, as if that is the worst thing a white girl could do. And if you're gonna tell me that's not about penis insecurity, I don't care if it's a stereotype, if it's true or not, whatever, that is what they are afraid of. Shit. Too good, hurt no one, help prosper. Name sounds familiar. I think it was. Why the fuck did I bring that up? Oh, I remember. Whew. That would have been a weird thing to bring up out of the blue. Because there is something that I envy from black people, and it's not penis. It is when a black woman wants to read you, cut you down. Nobody. I don't care who you are. I don't care, you're Irish, indigenous, whatever. A black woman whose ancestors are from Africa will read you, and you will just be like a little pile of ash, like a Thanos dust. And I wish I could do that. That's what I wish I could do. Oh, shit. Dr. Midnight, I gotta go. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate it. I know this is a long one. I started late. And yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. If you guys look up at the top left, you'll see LeftFace turn into a little ground news symbol. If you use my code, that is the link that's in there, and the link should also be in the description in the YouTube side. You can get the Vantage level subscription through Ground News for 15% off. And so as I grow and the channel grows, the discount will get better and better and better. So stick around and help me grow. But right now it's at 50% off, and it's an easy way to support the channel. It's not expensive as it is, and I get a little cut of it. And it's actually pretty dope. I use it for all my new stuff. If I find articles, I'm almost always finding it through the Ground News app that is, telling me hot news that is out. And I personally like the blind spot report that it gives. It's actually pretty dope. It actually makes me feel better about myself, because every time I look at like blind spot for the left, and I'm like, all right, let me see what's going on. What kind of stuff are lefty news not reporting on? And let me tell y'all, it is the dumbest shit. It is like Kamala Harris spent $20 on toilet paper, and it was something dumb. Like that's what would be on the left blind spot. All right, let's finish this.
Why couldn't you listen to a black woman trying to tell you that an active threat was right there?
Did you see that the majority of black people voted for this woman, stood together just to say that Democrats are out of touch with the working class? Are black people not the working class?
I made the charge yesterday that Kamala Harris was more progressive, if not equally as progressive as Bernie Sanders when she was a sitting senator.
I'd have to fact check that one. I'm going to go ahead and say I don't know. He might be right. I highly doubt it. But I will say this much. And that's fair. If there's truth to it, then maybe it's something. First thing out of my mouth, I don't know if that's true. I doubt it, but I don't know that it's true. But let me tell you all something that people do sometimes. They do they have an idea of what the definition of progressive is, and like how you measure progressiveness. And sometimes it's a little bit different than a leftist. A lot of times, almost every time. What's up, Blaze Faust? And what I mean by that is, especially if you're a liberal, right? If you don't consider yourself a socialist and you're a liberal, like you're a registered Democrat and all that, and you think they're a good party who could do better, but for the most part, they're the good guys. If that's your thought process, then maybe it's pro-blacks legislation, pro-black legislation, pro-queer legislation, just like queers can get married. It's bad to beat up black people if you don't have probable cause. It's bad for cops to beat up anybody. Like these are some like super low bar shit. You know what I mean? So without me looking into it, if Harris as a senator did a lot of work for, let's say, racial justice or for women, cool. But is there work to dismantle the system, right? Are we calling out wealth disparity? Are we doing something that builds and strengthens the social safety net for our most vulnerable? I still stand to be wrong because I literally don't know. I'm not even pretending like I half know. I'm just going by what I know of her as the top cop in California and her time in. I'm not going to pretend I can know how her Senate seat went. I might be wrong, but from what I know of her as an attorney general and what I know of her as vice president, to say that she is a liberal, she's left-leaning, to say that she's, a left-leaning progressive, that's fine. Yeah, sure. But is she like a Bernie Sanders where she's trying to dismantle the system? I don't know about all that. What is this? Is this by somebody famous? Will I get struck for it? Oh yeah, that's definitely, yeah. Because the info's not loading. I hate when my shit does this. Mad Descent. Yeah, that'll get me struck for sure. I take those claims with a grain of salt. I get their point, but I feel that there's some candidates standing. Yeah, 100%. Remember, candidates are not celebrities. Do not ever stand a candidate. Pick one because you think it's the least amount of harm. Hope that one wins for sure. But none of these people, not even Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is not my friend. I don't know that dude.
A lot of Bernie bros and fans got up in there. So you just want me to pretend that her voting record in the Senate doesn't exist?
Everything that was used to bash Kamala Harris, we're not using the same criteria for Trump, for Bernie Sanders, for Gavin Newsom, all these people that we're putting her up against. The criteria is just not, it's just never the same.
Yep, I knew this would happen eventually. Didn't think it would be so damn quick. I mean, Trump has ruined America in record time. It feels like he's already been there for 4 years.
Yep.
He just got back at the White House.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
In the last 2 months, when he talks about, I heard, you know who I heard say this? I heard old dude on Zateo, Mehdi Hassan. He goes, when Trump tells you that he's done more in 2 months than any other president in history, he's telling the truth. He's telling the truth. Don't play it on stream. You may remember when you were talking about black women reading people. Oh, okay, bet.
The comparisons are relevant. They are. There are nuances of bias that are hyper-aggressive and some are unknown to the person doing it. This is a great point of reflection and an opportunity for correction.
FD Signifier has a really great video on this, by the way. And I think I am remiss. Not I would be. I have been remiss this whole video. And I think I'm starting from a baseline that I assume we're all starting in, but I actually do because I already know where this is going, and I immediately feel bad. See, that's how you know I'm not a black man, because a black man wouldn't have forgotten this, right? Because it's everything. You can bet your fucking ass that a fucking large part of Harris losing was because she was a black woman. And that 80-90% of the criticism that she gets is because she's a black woman. And if that had been, I don't know about Biden was going to lose. But if you took a piece of shit like Gavin Newsom, I really do believe, would have won. I think he would have won. And Gavin Newsom's a piece of shit. I wonder how many white leftists would be as up in arms about his record with homeless and wealth and everything else shitty he fucking does because he's a shitty person and a Democrat. Remember that. But here's the deal. Gavin Newsom would be better than Trump, right? Sure, of course he would be. Still a piece of shit. Would they give him as much shit as they given Harris? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm starting everything I'm saying about Harris and why she lost. I'm starting on the premise that she was always behind the eight ball as a black woman. Always. Because she's a black woman. My frustration with her is because you started behind behind the eight ball because you're a black woman. You had no yards to spare. You know, you were 2 on 4th down. You know, Newsom is a racist Democrat. Republicans love to talk about him, but we'll buddy up to them too. Yeah, You saw his shit with what's his name? The guy with the dolphin teeth, Charlie Kirk. You saw that? Yeah, no, that dude's a piece of shit.
Kamala Harris,
not a sports
VP,
guy, is he?
I do hope she is considering in the future continuing to push the envelope.
Wait, what did I say to say that? No, I'm not. But what did I say to make you say that? That very true thing, by the way.
Political power to go back to the left. I hope so. But we have to stop looking for a savior.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The salvation of progressive policies will not be codified in one human being. It never is. There is no political leader in the history of America who has set the moral compass for the nation. It has always been those who did not have political office, the Dr. Kings of the world, the Malcolm X's of the world, etc. This goes on and on.
That's
so the real power
that's how the figure of speech goes, right? Behind the 8 ball, 2nd and 4th. Or is it 4th and? Is it downs first, then yards? Is it 4th and 2? How would I say it? Man, I remember when I was young, I used to be insecure about knowing sports, and I would yeah. No, I know. That part I know. I was using 2 different references. But did I say, is it 2nd and 4th? 4th and long. 4th and long. Yeah. See, I haven't pretended to like football in a long time. Damn. 4th and 2, 4th and long, 4th and 2nd, down in inches. Well, inches means you almost have a first down. Or is it you got down and you got inches on it? Like not even a yard. Okay. I feel you. Look. I stopped pretending to care that I care like when I was like 27. Like right around 20. No, that's a lie. Like 32. 32, I stopped pretending to care. I'm not starting now. I'm about to be 45 this year.
Ways being with the people, and those closest to the people are able to transform the narrative of the nation. And so I simply want us to get out of the leader to leader comparison when the real issue is us, because we're the ones that the leaders permeate from.
Right? Wait. He's so cool. I didn't watch this whole video. He's so close. That would be so dope that I could take back everything I said about the good doctor if he closes this. How he's so close. I played basketball. All through in my teen years, young adult years. I played basketball, like, on the rec center, always rec center. I played intramural. My church had an intramural thing going with other churches in Florida. But the only sport I ever played and watched seriously was basketball. Anything outside of basketball, I don't know what the fuck anybody's talking about typically. Football, I would watch casually at a bar or at a friend's house because football was on. But like basketball is really the only sport I know how to talk about.
All right.
I used to be skinny. I used to be young. I used to be fast. I was a shooter.
That's why I'm at with the Reese thoughts.
Well, there was a lot of
Oh, wait. He didn't. Oh, man.
On and on. So the real power has always been with the people, and
100%.
those closest to the people are able to transform the narrative of the nation.
Yes.
And so I simply want us to get out of the leader to leader comparison when the real issue is us, because we're the ones that the leaders permeate from.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
That's why I'm at with the Reese thoughts.
Yes. No. Okay. I don't know what you're going to say, but yes, that's it. You can't sit it out. I don't know if this is what he meant, but you can't sit it out. You can't go count jelly beans. The comment I left on this video, I can't find it. It might be buried, or I don't know if it's deleted, or I don't know. But I thought it was deleted. I didn't say anything like inflammatory, but somebody replied saying you need to read up on your history a little better, it seems, or something like that. And what they were trying to say is, I know what they were trying to say because I'm arguing in good faith. I'm not arguing as a racist. I'm arguing in good faith. So what they're trying to tell me is, what you need to do is understand that black folks have always been out there. Like all the change and all the progress we see is because of black folk. As if I don't know that. But when to their reply of, you need to read up on your history a little more, my reply was, which part? The part where we waited for white people to do their part before we stood up for ourselves? That part? If ever in any spot in our history did Black, Indigenous, Latin, Asians, if there was any part of that moment where we didn't ever show up until white people did their part, bro, there might still be chattel slavery, but we wouldn't have, nobody would be voting. That's for sure. Women wouldn't be voting. Black folks have been at the head. And until black and brown folks are not marginalized anymore, for our own good and for our children and for our grandchildren, we will always have to be there, because this weird ass shit of I voted, I'm part of the 92, I'm gonna sit my black ass down. Until when? Until white folks stand up for you? Come on. My comment was unnecessary. What part? Which the comment I responded with that was unnecessary, or the comment making a comment at all? Be specific. We will always have to be out there. Always. And unless we're talking about now, here's what I can get behind. And I highly doubt this is what is being meant. Here's what I can get behind. You mean singing "Sit Your Black Ass Down"? Is black a bad word? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I'll chew on that. Does anybody agree? We can take a vote. Where was I? There is a leftist thought that some people call accelerationism. That it's like, you know what? Like, for instance, I'm a democratic socialist. That's what I identify with, right? As if that's an identity. But if I had to pick a label for socialism, I'm a democratic socialist. And what that means is it's a socialist who thinks that capitalism is the problem. Capitalism needs to be dismantled. But we're going to try to get there not through violent revolution. Okay? We're going to work within the system, and we're going to try to do no, it came off as rude. Just say sit your ass. Okay, that's okay. I don't want to be dismissive about it, so if he felt that was rude, that's not what I meant. I was just going with the theme of the video and singing the song that I would have sang otherwise. Best believe that if I had said the N-word, I wouldn't have said it. Even with the A or not, whatever, I wouldn't have said it. But that's fair. All right, kill Illigu. Nah, sing that shit. This person didn't see the whole video. Oh, okay. No pun intended with all those Ks. There's a moment in here, the theme, where they're gonna not go to protest, and then the joke is then the song comes in where they say that. So I was just going with the theme. But I feel you. If there wasn't that song in here, that would be kind of weird. I feel you. Trump regime will use that as an excuse to say, look, no blacks protested, or blacks do protest, he'll use it. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Bro, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Here's what I would ask everybody to say. Everybody. Here's what I'll tell you. Ask yourself what civil rights leaders that you admire, I'm not going to even name them. Is there a civil rights leader you admire, and ask what they were doing this moment in their life? And then, if it's not the same thing, ask why today is different when we know we have a fascist who is dismantling the Department of Education, who's dismantling USAID. Like, why are we at a time now? And I'm going to say something that might be a little bit of a hot take, but I'm going to say it anyway because I'm me. But I wonder how many of these people singing that song and talking about I'm 92% this and that have never done shit anyway. They didn't do shit before, and now they get to virtual signal where they don't do shit afterwards anyway. How many of these people have dedicated their lives to activism and have been there in protests, in pushing legislation, in organizing, in setting up community gardens, in mutual aid? How many people have actually been there working and then said, wow, couldn't even vote in Harris, and they let that motherfucker in the second time? You know what? I'm et cetera, right? I'm not doing this. You want to know why I am comfortable assuming that not one of them motherfuckers are out there like that? You want to know why? Because think about what I just said. Out there fighting, out there doing community aid, organizing, community gardens, mutual aid. You know what all that is? That is help for your people. And what fucking sense does it make to suddenly go, wow, I was one of the 92%. I'm going to stop helping my people out. You know, like if you're working, you're still working. You know, if you were working before, you're working after. If you're protesting before, you're protesting after. Man, I'm telling you right now, that a massive number of the people who are saying I'm not doing shit weren't doing shit before anyway. And I think this is just a way to virtue signal they're not doing shit. That's me being less charitable than I was before, but that's what I feel. Like I said, majority of it just views of monetization. That's it. This is my chance to blow up on TikTok by talking about how I'm not doing shit and this is your fault. This is all your fault. All the protesting I'm not going to do is because you didn't vote the way I wanted you to vote. Never mind that I never protested my life before, but now it's because of you. Fuck out of here. Oh, man. Sorry, just got here. I was sensitive to racism directly. My white. Man, you white too? I'm gonna tell you something. You want to know a pet peeve of mine? You're cool, by the way. You cool. We're good. As a brown man, as a clearly brown Puerto Rican man, white people telling me, I had somebody come in here one time, hey, I don't think you should be talking about XYZ. I forget what the topic was because you're not black. And I said, well, why do you think that? I mean, like, if you're black, can you help me out? Maybe I could be corrected. Oh, I'm white. Bitch, if you don't sit your fucking ass down, you are welcome. You are cool. I'm not, this is not for you right now, right? You cool. But I can't stand that shit. I don't know why. But I better have dropped the N-word. Oh, damn, you're right. My bad. God damn. I keep forgetting. Let me see. Oh, no. Damn. I was expecting a text. Can you please shut the fuck up? You brought an annoying memory to the forefront. Listen, man. Here, Jay Bird, let me tell you something. If you're ever gonna correct another person of color on some shit, I better have said the hard N-word with an ER. I better have said a racist generalization of black folks. Okay? I just need you to know that. Don't ever. Because, motherfucker, you don't even know if I'm black. Like, we were talking about that earlier, right? How you identify, how you were raised. Like, maybe I identify as black. Maybe I'm Afro-Latino. You don't fucking know. You weren't even here to hear me say that I wasn't black. I'm not black. We cool. We cool. Be cool, honey bunny. Be cool.
Well, there was a lot.
Now let's see what she has to say. I do like what he said, by the way. I'm wondering if me and him are on the same page and he just finds it funny because I also found it funny. I don't know, but
all right. Of different things that were covered in that.
It should matter, Jay Bird. It should matter. It should matter. Because then you come off as like, that white savior where like the white dude's always right. So I get it. I like it. That's why I said you're cool. Like I would rather somebody be overstep in protection in, being anti-racist, right? I don't think that's different, right? If you were like a MAGA saying some crazy shit, you wouldn't even be talking right now, right? So if you overstep because you're being like sensitive towards racism, that's cool. That's a good thing. That's fine. But I'm just as a point of education, white people sometimes come off as like a trust me, I have the answer. Trust me, I'm white, right? Is that weird like white superiority kind of thing, but like in a different kind of way. You know what I mean? It's why white liberals love movies with Sandra Bullock saving the black kid. You know what I mean? Like, wow, I need to go adopt a black kid too. White savior shit. So yeah, I mean, if you see like black and if somebody who's not white doing some shit that's kind of sus, maybe ask somebody black next to you, like, hey, was that offensive? And maybe the black person will tell you no. We're all gonna be like three Fonzies and cool, correct the mundo.
First of all, before we get to April 5th, we need to get to April 1st, which is the special elections in Florida, congressional districts 1st and 6th district. I want to see if y'all with this protest energy had that same energy to talk to your brethren and sister and go, oh, there's aunties and grandmas and mamas and people.
So that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And do you see what I'm saying about that weird kind of like illogical, I just want to be mad, which by the way, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of going back and forth. There has to be grace for people who are angry. And I think being angry is fine. So, but if we're saying this and we're breaking it down logically, why would the person from Minnesota be responsible for what racist people in Florida do or don't do? You know what I mean? Like, does anybody think that white liberals have any effect on their racist grandma, grandpa? Like, come on, let's be real. But also could be from the skepticism of people yapping on the internet, but not actually doing anything. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's fair.
Pause and tell them to protect their Social Security and vote Democrat on those two elections. Also, Elon Musk is trying to buy the Wisconsin special election on April 1st. Louisiana has 4 constitutional amendments on the ballot in March 29th. So
Louisiana came through. Okay. So now we get this video is what is it, about a week old? I think. What is this? 4 days. All right. So we're less than a week old. Let's follow back later on next week, or we'll do this on Friday. So Louisiana came through, and Wisconsin came through. Are she back on for the 5th now? Did you know what I'm saying? She must be back on then, right?
Everybody wants to talk about protests. Everybody wants to talk about their performing. They want the Democrats to perform. They want to get
By
out
the way, I had the video sped up a little bit, so she's not talking that fast.
there performing, wave their posters and wear their pink hats and stuff. Get your ass out and vote. When we have the election results, then that will tell you if it's even worth it. Because if all we're going to do is yell and scream and perform and not get to the heart of things, which is we need electoral power in the local, state, and federal level, then we just out here hollering at each other. We're not moving the needle. So that's that in terms of that.
I remember you were writing them, and I could tell you I was not following the stuff that's happening in Louisiana, which I just need to be better at that. I need to be better at that. I've been so busy through the week. I'm trying to stay on top of it, and then that way to have educated commentary. But then it's like I get lost in the sauce. But you posted that stuff, and I was like, is this bad? Is this good or bad? And then you could tell because I'm like, damn, they didn't give teachers a raise. That's fucked up. And you're like, nah, that was to tax everyone else, lower the tax for the rich. That's how they were going to give the raise. Like, oh, so good. That's good then. Yes, it's good. Okay, yeah, good. Yeah. Oh shit. Only thing you do for Florida is give money and hope Floridians show up to vote for your candidate. Apparently, it's legal now. It's just a shame that, look, you won't find any billionaire leftists, but I know for a goddamn sure there's billionaire liberals. So let's let them put their money where their mouth is. Wisconsin judge said it was okay for Elon Musk to pay people $1 million for their time that happened to include voting for the right candidate, in their opinion. You know what I'm saying? Look, I'm done lying to myself. That means I'm done lying to y'all. You just wait for those notifications, unless you're Elite X1, because for some reason my notifications don't go off for him. But when you'll get what I gotta be better at, to be respectful of y'all's time. I gotta be ready. I gotta be better at dropping the YouTube thumbnail earlier. You know what I mean? Because now it's like if y'all don't hear anything by 9, I'm probably not streaming. But it should be like if you don't hear anything by 2 p.m. because I haven't dropped the thumbnail yet, that part I will try to be better on for real. I need to be better at that.
People do want to protest, more power to you, but people should absolutely look into resources like the ACLU and make sure that you are prepared for these protests, because we're in a different era now. The Donald Trump era is no more First Amendment, okay? Right. And we don't know what people have up their sleeves. We saw an executive order today come out with basically Donald Trump trying to take over DC. So be careful and be diligent and be safe. That's the first and foremost part. Facts. Now, as far as Vice President Kamala Harris, I don't think it's a Kamala Harris thing. Democratic leaders have a tendency to fall back and show deference to the incumbent and the next incoming administration.
Facts. I like her. Yes, facts. And that's why we lose. And when I say we, I'm including myself, and I wouldn't consider myself a Democrat, but if I'm going to vote for anybody in the system we have, it's going to be a Democrat, and that's exactly right. You know what I mean? Like, that's why Trumpers do what they do. I said this before. You all have heard me say this. Why isn't Biden doing everything he can to protect reproductive rights? So you know what people said? What can he do? Not y'all, but people on the social media. What can he do? Oh, he's not a king, blah, 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 blah. You know what's weird? That sure as fuck doesn't ever stop Trump. Isn't that weird?
We saw that happen with President Obama. We saw that where pretty much, the leaders of the past, they don't tend to get involved in what the Republicans are doing. Republicans do not have that same energy. And so absolutely, Vice President Kamala Harris fought a valiant fight. She told us what happened. She could
think about it. When old dude, what's his name? Representative Al Green stood up and yelled and got censured for it. Right? Yelled at Trump during his address to the Congress. He got censured. Listen to this. I want you all to understand this when I talk about, I'm not just being a cringe leftist, like, both sides of this. A lot of times they are the same. All but 10 Democrats voted to censor Al Green. No, Jay Bird, all but 10. All of them except for the 10. 10 stood up there with them. While everyone else was mad and saying, oh, you shouldn't have done that. You're supposed to be polite. Fuck out of here.
You just tweet every single day, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so, and that would probably be enough. But she did her job, so she has no obligation to now come and save the day. When y'all couldn't even get out and vote and save her and save the country.
I'm okay with being wrong. Let me look it up. You might be right.
At the same time. With that being said, if she wants a political future, it would behoove her to just be a little more visible. I think we can admit that for political calculus, just self-preservation purposes, it would be nice to not have to defend her not saying nothing. Okay, so I'm just give a little inch, just dip your toe in. That's it. Just come.
You're right. Okay, I was wrong. 10 Democrats joined Republicans, but that's 10 too many. Like, how do you have 10 people willing to go, yeah, that was wrong? By the way, maybe only 10 voted, but many more have made statements saying that wasn't the right thing to do and yada, yada, yada.
I'm out, Hillary Clinton said butter emails every now and again. Just give us a little something. That would not hurt. But then the last thing that I would say is nothing that any particular Democratic political leader will appease people, because what people really want to hear is they want to hear that they can sit at home and not vote. They can sit up there and play their purity politics. They can have their red lines, allow the Republicans to get a trifecta majority in the House, overtake the Senate, win the White House, when Donald Trump has packed the Supreme Court 6-3. And
she might be talking to two different people here. Like she's saying like all the words that are coming out of her mouth. I'm like, yup. Because I'm talking about right now, like you can't stay home. She might be talking about the people who couldn't vote for her and yada, 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 or stayed home in general. Because again, when you look at the numbers, you look at Biden's numbers and Trump's numbers, then you look at Harris's numbers and Trump's numbers. The only person, Trump's numbers stayed about the same and Harris's numbers went down. I think by like 7 million, something like that.
Under a Trump, MAGA, Elon Musk, Doge agenda. They cannot tell you that, because what happens is, though, to the winner goes the spoils. And unfortunately, the spoils is America, and they spoiling shit in record time. So nobody's going to be able to tell you what you want to hear, because elections have consequences, period. So to your point, Dr. Ritchie, the power now has to come from the people. We do not have the privilege to wait until January 2027 to get a new Congress. And if we can even understand that assignment, we need to be mobilizing and putting pressure right now on the Republicans in all these states and at the federal level to change course. They are not complete.
Perfect. I love it. I take it back. They're on point. They laughed. They respected the anger. They're not being as hard on them as I am, which is fair. Maybe I'm wrong. But at the end of the day, their point is the same. You cannot stay home. Right now is the time to mobilize. If there was ever a time, it's now. Trump is in his second term. He knows he's either dictator for life like Putin, which he would love, but even if he's not, he doesn't have to worry about re-election, so he don't give a shit about that either. He's going to do everything and anything to dismantle this country so that him and his friends could all become trillionaires instead of billionaires. You can't. Be mad. Be mad at every person who was too lazy to vote. Be mad at every leftist who couldn't vote because of the genocide. Go for it. Be mad to your heart's content. We still got to press.
Completely united. We can do something. We have to make it uncomfortable, whether that's what we're doing with boycotts, whether that's what we're doing in terms of making calls, 5 calls a day, or whether that's what we're doing, showing up at the ballot box, flipping some seats, making them pull back Elise Stefanik's nomination and protest. And let's have an all of the above approach instead of just yelling at Democrats, telling them what you want to do.
Yeah, that's right. And all politics is local, as we say. We got to get some W's. Got to get some W's under the belt. And it should not be difficult in the midst of everyone around you, if not you yourself losing your
showing up to city council, showing up to town halls, making your voice heard. 100%.
Jobs. Losing your opportunity to retire or even Medicare, Medicaid, affordable. All of this is being taken away. When Schumer said he wanted to avoid a government shutdown, damn it, Schumer's already shutting down.
That's right.
It's already shutting down.
That's it. It's worse than shutting down. It's changing in its speed running to fascism. All right, we spent a lot of time. I said I wanted to talk. There's a documentary. No, actually, just a talk with Mark Lamont Hill about erasing blackness from Puerto Rico. We might watch that on. Let me put that in. Save for later because we'll watch that on Friday. Watch later. Yeah, got it. How tariffs are going to affect us. We did enough making fun of libs today. All I wanted to talk about was, Turkey is in mass protests over corruption, right? So here's Turkey. And man, I want to watch this too. Gotta fucking save that one. That'll be Friday. You know what? More than likely Friday's gonna happen because I got too much I want to talk about. But yeah, so we have Turkey. Here's Turkey protesting corruption, and here's the United States. That shit's embarrassing. I don't give a fuck who you are. That shit's embarrassing. We won't talk about that on Friday. We will talk about this on Friday. Wait, what did I just close? Oh. No, sorry for doing that. Boom. JD Defiant. How long is this video? Less than a minute? Let's, I don't give a fuck. I don't want to hear his voice. He's going to put me in a bad mood. Trump considering ways to serve a third term as president. I'll post that in the Discord. Marine Le Pen. Yep, we should be more like France. Wisconsin was appeals court because we fucking suck. All right, let's. All right, so here's the deal, Steele.
Beta.
Press the wrong button. All right. Is it just me, or does it feel like if black and brown people tried peaceful protests like that, we'd be shot, made to look like looters? Oh yeah. No. He would. First of all, we're not corny, so that's not how we would do. But even if we did say, you know what, we're gonna do Joy's Resistance or some shit like that, it might look like that for a little bit, and then the police would come. And they would say, hey, you're not supposed to be here, or hey, get out of the street. And then they're trying to push us out, and then somebody else gets pushed, and then some old lady gets pushed, and she trips and falls, and somebody says, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And then all of a sudden they push that guy, and then somebody gets, and then boom, 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 boom. And guess what happened? Black and brown protests turned violent today. That's what happened. They would instigate, and then the news would report as if the protesters are the ones who got violent. That's exactly what would happen, because that's what's been happening. That's why the 7% of BLM protests that got violent, police instigated. Any violence that happened on any of the campus pro-Palestine protests, police instigated. So you already know that's what they would do. Let me just put this here. All right. This is a message for those of y'all who may be watching over on YouTube. At this point in the stream, I want to watch something that YouTube doesn't want me to watch. And I will get a little warning, and then my stream will get cut off and all that. So at this part of the stream, I'm going to say maybe goodbye. But if you'd like to watch this thing that YouTube doesn't want me to watch, come on over to the Twitch side. I am at twitch.com/LeftFace. LeftFace TV. Got to put the TV. I know it's not over on the YouTube side. Maybe that's a stupid decision, but on Twitch, it's /LeftFace TV. And we're going to watch Dr. Mike versus some anti-vaxxers on Jubilee. If you don't come over, that's fine. Maybe you don't like Twitch. Maybe you don't have an account. I do stream again on Thursday over on the channel Blurred Without Fear. And we do a fun, still lefty oriented, right? Progressive, but it's more like talking about nerd stuff. And I guarantee we're going to be talking about Daredevil this week and whatever else that comes up on the news for nerd culture. And then I'll be back here, LeftFace or LeftFace TV on Friday. And if you missed the jokes from earlier, maybe I won't be, but I probably will be. So, yeah. I'm glad I came over to Twitch tonight. That's what's up. Thank you. Thank you for being here too. First time chatted too. That's what's up. Are you from, do I know you over on YouTube and you're just a different name here or what? Okay, real quick. Well, they answer that. I'm going to click right here and I'm going to tell you all on the YouTube side, if you are coming over and you're staying there, goodbye. I love you. Remember, as you're taking care of others, take care of yourself, and adios.